Hello and welcome back to the Additive ASMR channel. Today we're going to open a brand new box of PETG filament. This is just a filament that I like to use with my 3D printers, and unboxing a new spool has quite a few fun sounds to it. First off, we just have our simple cardboard box here. My go-to company that I like to purchase from is called Hatchbox, and they just produce a really consistent filament that I get nice results out of the printer from. The Snowman Army from my last video was printed with Hatchbox PETG filament. Have just a nice lever action box here. Opens from the front. Their slogan here: your creativity, our tools. To be honest, I don't think I've ever actually noticed their slogan before on the front of the box. I do save these boxes. I run an Etsy store where I ship items out of, and I will actually take these boxes and turn them inside out, just sewing the cardboard interior, and ship them out that way. So as you can see here, we have our nice spool of filament inside. Basically, these guys are just plastic or cardboard spools with the plastic filament wrapped around them. And the printer will take that spool and slowly unwind it and pull the filament off of the spool until there's nothing left on the spool. Now, some of the printers that I have will actually purge some filament before printing the actual part, and it's excess waste. But since I try not to waste plastic or waste as little as possible, I plan to use that excess purged material and put it into some different molds. I was actually thinking of doing a beard or mustache comb for utilizing that material. I'll have to do a later video on that one to see what I'm able to use that from. But let's go ahead and continue with this video. Let's give it a moment here. We'll get the box out of the way. There we go. Now, as you can see, the spool itself is vacuum sealed in another plastic bag. It's not my favorite that they put it in plastic, but I understand that they have to keep the filament dry, as you don't want wet filament going through your printer. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't like the sounds that you can make from opening the packages here. These blue clippers here, if you've ever 3D printed anything or bought a 3D printer, you should be very familiar with these clips. Basically any 3D printer sold in the last few years has been shipped with a pair of these blue clips. They're just very nice for trimming filament or grabbing boogers off your parts and chipping them off, or opening a spool bag. Something else that basically every spool of filament is sent with are these little moisture absorbing packs. Basically, with any plastic that you 3D print or injection mold or rotational mold or blow form mold, any of the plastic processes that are out there, you almost never want to be working with wet plastic. Having it nice and dry is the easiest medium to work with. You can get a lot of stringing or inconsistent extrusion with 3D printing if you have wet filament. So that's why the spools themselves are shipped vacuum sealed, and each one of them will have these moisture absorbing packs inside. One thing to note about these, you do not want to consume them. I don't know if they call it out anywhere on these packages, but it's very similar to any of the other packs you'd find in maybe a package of food. You don't want to be consuming this. You shouldn't be consuming any of these. They're plastic, but these specifically you don't want to have anyone open and consume. Just a note and a reminder. They do make nice sounds though. You can consume the audio. Okay, let's get this out. Our plastic here. I also have these handy dandy tweezers, as it can be helpful sometimes when you need to reach inside the printer and just pick something off from the build plate, or if you need to grab something off the extruder themselves. And the extruders can be up to, at least for some of the prints that I do, up to 260 degrees Celsius. I don't know exactly what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's very hot. So it's not something you want to be touching with your bare hands. So reaching in with something small and metallic is much safer than getting it in contact with your skin. On most spools of filament, a company will provide a few bits of information for use. So they are calling out the diameter of the filament is 1.75 millimeters. That's very common. Giving you the tolerance, plus or minus 0.03 millimeters. So that's saying that this number could be anywhere between 1.78 and 1.72. And you don't want to have too much variance going through your printer, as that can have unwanted defects or artifacts in the printing process. Net weight, it's approximately this 1 kilogram. Most of the printing I do is with 1 kilogram spools. And it is saying here that the temperature you want going through your nozzle should be anywhere between 230 degrees C and 260 degrees C. I run this filament at 255, so I run it on the higher end, and I just seem to get better flow with the filament when it's hotter. And is this German, Dutch, Deutsch? I'm not entirely sure. I actually didn't know that there was another language on the filament here. And then I'm assuming this is Chinese, but I am again not sure which language we have here. And they obviously say you can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, X, or YouTube. Now, here we actually have our filament. It is one long strand that starts right here. Usually I clip with my blue clips right here and then put this in my purge bucket with filament and plan to utilize it later. I don't like having the little crooked end going into my printer first. So basically this is just wound over and over again. And the idea is that this starting strand here is not overlapped. Anywhere across any of the other layers here, as otherwise you'd get a cross-wound spool, which we certainly would not want, as the extruder gears would keep trying to pull while you have a filament trying to pull against itself. Well, thank you for watching if you have gotten to this point. I'm having a lot of fun making these videos. I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, especially if you want to see more of my content. And please leave a comment below about what your favorite part of the video was. I am also looking for constructive criticisms, so please let me know your thoughts. Until next time, keep printing those Z's.